Even after dying and coming back to life, can Ventress find her true love? Let's discuss tonight. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ventress-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Tales of the Underworld, Episode 1, A Way Out, Episode 2, Friends, Episode 3, One Warrior to Another. Yep. And so, because this show came out during Andor and we were doing 2 episodes a week for that coverage, we have delayed Tales of the Underworld to now. So we're like 3 weeks late, over 3 weeks late. But we're here. We're covering it.
And it's a late stream. And y'all still popping off right now, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, like Retsy's there, Red Buff, Will, all kinds of people are still staying up late. So I guess it's summer, so I guess people are getting out of school.
True.
They don't gotta get up early anymore. But schmucks like us, we gotta have a job and wake up early and stuff. But you're not here to talk about work life. We're here to talk about Star Wars. And so, so this week we are covering all 3 episodes of the Ventress arc, and then next week we'll be doing the Cad Bane arc. So cover this in 2 weeks, and then we'll be done. But I don't know. You might as well just jump into it. Drew, what were your overall thoughts of the Ventress arc?
I loved it. I was so happy that they started out with, they just went into it. They're just like...
with the scene from the end of Dark Disciple.
Bro, that was it was so refreshing to see something you read on screen. We haven't really experienced that in Star Wars. To that point. It was so cool. I was super happy. Oh, I read this thing. So I love that. And we kind of figured out before, we assumed what was gonna happen, but to actually see it was sweet. And yeah, they did it right, which was very encouraging as well.
But that's just the opening scene. You said you loved the arc, so
I mean, everything
the
else.
Opening scene was enough for you to love the whole thing.
I was I love this. I don't know.
Classic Drew. They didn't mess. Makes you love the whole thing.
They didn't mess the one thing I was so concerned about up. Then I was heck yeah. When I remember, it's been so long, but when I turned it on, I was oh, okay, let's go into this.
Did you rewatch it in the last couple of days?
Not. No.
So you haven't watched it in 3 weeks?
I haven't watched it in 3 weeks.
Oh, Drew.
I was, in my defense, I was not in this country for 10 days.
One of those, less than a week of that.
Oh, yeah, less than a week. But still, I don't know.
You could have Andor,
just finished Andor.
You could have watched this at work, bro.
Sure, I could have watched it today at work. Well, not really. It was stupid, but yeah. But I did watch it twice then, so.
Okay.
I've seen it more than once, because I watched it by myself, and then Mario's turned it on, and then I watched it again. So,
all right, cool. Well, for the Ventress arc, I was very disappointed by it. I was kind of mad with how it ended because it was completely worthless. Nothing happened.
Well, it's like the other one.
Well, it's
the other one we're about to do next week.
So it's just stupid because the whole point is to get to the kid to the path.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's she gets the kid to the path, and one you gotta get him to the path, and it's is she gonna see Quinlan? And nothing happened. The kid at the end ran back to her and was we're friends, stick together, or whatever, some stupid thing.
Yeah.
And so all 3 episodes amounted to absolutely nothing.
Well, yes and no.
What do you mean yes and no?
It kind of shows you that she's a good guy now.
Yeah, but we already kind of knew that. from like Bad Batch season 3,
Sure,
and
yeah, but like we got more of it.
I don't know, because then
It was developing her character as a new character.
if the kid went on the path to the ship and left, I would have been happy. But the fact that he came back, nothing was accomplished. And what I really wanted was, as she
Quinlan's
was
sister.
leaving, for him to like step into the scene and they see each other from a distance, and that's the end of the thing. Or like there was like at the very end when she's like leaving, there's like two scenes where it's like the camera goes up to like a cliff and you see the ship. I was like, oh, it's gonna move up and Quinlan's gonna be standing there looking down at her. Or there's another scene where it was like a similar, like the camera was going up the side of the thing. I thought it was gonna show his feet and him looking at her, and it could have ended just like that. And I would have been,
that would have been horrible.
I would have been totally happy with it. I would have been totally fine. I mean, cool. Like there's more story there. Something was accomplished, but nothing happened. She didn't meet Quinlan again.
I don't
And
think
the
she's
kid didn't go
supposed
anywhere.
to though.
Huh?
She's not supposed to though.
Well, I get that, but she didn't. If it was just him seeing her, she didn't see him. That would have made it would have still been fine.
True.
But it was stupid. I was just and like they made the character model of Quinlan, and like that opening scene, like when there's walking and we see their backs, like it looked live action to me.
Yeah, it was good, dude.
Like just seeing his back and his rippling muscles, like carrying her, like
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was live action.
And
Like,
Obi-Wan, dude. Oh.
he looks so good, but it's just like they
That
put
one
all
scene
that
didn't do
money.
it for you.
That
Like it did it for me.
opening scene was great, but nothing was accomplished, and so I'm very upset with this. This was the one I was most excited for, and nothing happened.
Also, the chat's like, I agree. I was confused. He's not in the Bad Batch, so where does he go? I feel like I don't know. Yeah, because where does that guy go?
And it's like if Bad Batch season 3 is 3 years after the fall of the Republic,
Yeah,
and that kid happens before that,
I feel like he
then
happened
like
after.
how is the path already that well established and hidden, and there's rumors that people can track down and stuff like
I feel like this is after the Bad Batch.
no. She's no.
Like, you
I
don't
don't
think she did the Bad Batch thing and then she went to that town?
no, because why would she go into hiding? She was on a mission to do stuff. She was putting in work in Bad Batch. And wasn't she hunting down the Bad Batch or hunting down Omega or something? Wasn't she acting as a bounty hunter or something? I forget why she was there. But
Chat,
like,
help us out.
but she like tracked them there followed them there for a reason. Like she was doing stuff. She was hiding in this episode. Like she was just done trying to live a quiet life. So I think the connecting with the kid reignited her to like have a purpose.
Mm.
And then somehow they split up, and then she got in Bad Batch. But
Maybe she actually makes him go on the path.
I don't know. I just thought this was a waste of time for me. But she was a contact. I thought someone called to help them.
Yeah,
To do what? I forget.
I don't remember either, but I remember hearing that.
It was like to get intel on the M count stuff, right? They tracked.
Right.
It was after Bad Batch because she didn't want that life anymore. But I think Red Buff because it was like something about the M count, like information on why the Empire wants M count stuff. And so like for her to have that information or the secret for him, it means that like she was like active in pursuing information that where she would know that. But so I think this 3 episodes is before that. But I don't know. We should just jump in.
There's something online to say,
huh?
If this was before or after Bad Batch, right?
I don't know. I don't think it was ever published. Anything like that. But we might as well jump into this. So episode 1 A Way Forward. And as we already discussed, it's the opening scene is the last scene of the Dark Disciple book. Spoiler alert. Ventress dies at the end of that book, saving Quinlan. And so then at the end, the Jedi Council allows Quinlan to bury Ventress, but Obi-Wan has to be an escort because Quinlan was dabbling with the dark side, and they're like, we can't trust this guy. So Obi-Wan, you go with him, and then bring him back. And so he buries Ventress in the goop and then leaves, and that's what we see in the book. And so this is that scene. So she gets put in the water. He walks away, and Mother Talzin's spirit speaks to her. Is it like, wake up? And Ventress is like a witch ghost, force ghost thing, and Quinlan can't hear her. So like she's just young and she's about to move forward, and Mother tells her to stop and says, "You have a choice. Either you can come with us, be with your sisters in the afterlife, or you can uh, go back, get back to the living, land of the living, and stuff." But like, she has this line: "His words are a gift to you," because he said, "I will always love you." So somehow, his words of loving her is somehow a means to be resurrected from the dead. Um, but she asks, "What's the cost if I choose to live?" And she says, "Your heart's desire,"
Which is him.
which is him. But what exactly does that mean? That like they'll never somehow through witch magic and the force and stuff that they'll never cross paths against or see each other. Like, I don't know what that exactly means. We'll
Well,
never know what that
I feel
means.
like, yeah, I don't know. The way I took it was that like she won't know to love him. Like she won't have that desire to love him, or so even if she did see him, I feel like it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, but she was wanting to see him. So like the fact that
Really?
like, because when he mentions Quinlan, she's like all giddy about it. Like, what did you just say? Blah blah
Oh,
blah. Like, and he was his name Sai Lyko. He's like, you really want to see this Quinlan person, your friend, blah blah blah. So like, must have been talking to him off screen, about him off screen type of thing. But I don't know. It wasn't really explained, but somehow she's denied, and so she chooses to live. And I think there was some sort of time jump when she rose from the dead, because the whole Dathomir swamp tomb area was turned into ruins after she came back to life. So it's like, I think it was a time jump of I don't know. What did you think happened?
well, I thought this whole thing took place after Bad Batch, so I assumed it was a pretty big time jump.
Right. So it's time jump. I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Did you think this was a time jump, or what? Was it an illusion by force, by living people to see this graveyard as something somewhat alive? I don't know, but that happened. And so then we catch up, and we're in some like canyon city, like a city inside like a bunch of canyon areas, and she's just doing airport security. Basically, that's all she does. She's just there. People checking tickets, coming, leaving, and going, and she's just making sure everything's going through. Um, One guy doesn't have a ticket. He wants to get through. Uses a blaster to like, I need to get out of here, and then he disarms him and kicks him out. All that stuff. So she's just a bodyguard, like a security guard type person, and she just wants a quiet. She's just a quiet job. She's like eating fruit on her break, just living a simple life.
Relaxing. Yeah.
There's stormtroopers, and so there's no clone troopers, so that's at least a couple years into the Empire which gets us closer to season 3 of Bad Batch. And then some kid is watching her, or watching the port area, trying to get in or something. So he goes in, doesn't have enough money, tries to do a Jedi mind trick on the lady at the counter. Doesn't work, and Ventress is watching like, what's this kid trying to do? It's like rolling her eyes, basically. And then Ventress is gonna like kick him out, and kind of like, you should know how to take care of yourself. You should be better than this type of thing. And he's kind of like, why are you saying this? And then the door opens, and there's a bunch of troopers there, and Ventress closes the door right away and tells the kid to hide. The troopers come in. Ventress does the mind tricks on the troopers and works just fine. And it goes like, go to, what is it? Docking Bay 24. And all right, we're going to Docking Bay. We got some intel for over there. And then the lady working at the place was like, there's a reward. What? They're behind. He's behind the counter. Blah 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 blah. And then then the kid and Ventress ignite their lightsabers, and I was surprised that he had his lightsaber like already ready to go. Like, I was surprised that he turned it on so quickly, but they kill all the troopers, take out the Viper or the droid. I forget. I can never remember the name of those security floating droids or whatever. And so they run, and then I don't know. They're just kind of like classic Ventress banter with whoever she's with, whether it's Obi-Wan or someone else. There's just always this banter with this, like Ahsoka. There was a time like banter, and it's just kind of like Ventress's thing. And so he's like, I gotta get to the path, blah 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 blah. And it was created, and Quinlan Voss is there, blah 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 blah. Oh shoot! So we learned that the path was created by Quinlan Voss, which we knew from the Obi-Wan series that he was at least a part of it, but we didn't know what his involvement was exactly, because we knew he was like helping people, but like he could have just been one of the people that found it and then wanted to work for it. But he founded it, so that's pretty cool. And so immediately Ventress is like surprised by this, like wants to know more information about it, but the kid doesn't know much. And so they go into another docking bay where there's a ship, and as they're going in, you see a feet in a cloak, and like, oh, here it is, here it goes. And so they're inside the docking bay area where the ship is. People are getting on a ship, and all the power goes out. And he says, I think he says he's here. So he's dealt with this Inquisitor before. So an Inquisitor comes in, and kind of scary, weird face, red eyes, glowing in the dark. And Ventress says, get on the ship, I'll take care of him. And we see Ventress with her yellow lightsaber. So we don't get any information on this yellow lightsaber, like how she got it, because she had that in Bad Batch. And so which is interesting because her lightsabers, her red ones, were taken by Barriss Offee when Ahsoka was framed for murder in season 5 of Clone Wars. And so the question is, where did she get this new lightsaber? We don't know. But sometime between, because I can't remember, did she have a yellow one in the book?
I don't know if they described it, but she definitely had one.
But I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they described it.
Because
you would have for sure been like, oh, you know what I mean?
But like, it would have been just such a quick comment in the book that I probably wouldn't even register. So I don't know. I can't remember. But let us know in the comments or whatever if you remember if she had a yellow lightsaber in Dark Disciple or not.
Chat, look it up.
Yep. We still got a bunch of people in there?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. People are loving these late streams.
Yep. So they just duel. And I thought it was a pretty cool fight. It's like in the dark, so it's like really bright lightsabers in the dark, which is kind of a cool way to.
It's a cool vibe.
cool vibe. And so you could tell that Ventress was rusty, that she hadn't done this in a while. And so she was kind of getting her butt kicked. She had some good moves, cool
She
choreography,
had
but
2 lightsabers, probably would have helped her.
yeah, because she did get 2 lightsabers because the kid tried to jump in and attack, and then he got knocked away pretty easily. But she did carry 2 for a little bit, and then she gets knocked down, disarmed, and the guy was like, "You don't fight like a Jedi," and he's like, "Oh, I know who you are. You should have stayed dead." Blah blah blah, and whatever. So as he's about to kill her, the kid takes 2 sabers, her saber and his, and stabs Inquisitor through the back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened. So then
She gets them in the black market in Dark Disciple.
I don't remember that at all.
Me either, but cool.
Cool.
Because even the hilt even looked like her old hilt.
Yeah, that's the side. She could have just made it. I guess you don't need.
Yeah, it's true. She could have just took the
fine parts. That's all you gotta do. And so after Inquisitor's killed, stormtroopers arrive and they get attacked. They're trying to kill the 2 people, Ventress and the kid, and they jump onto a ship that's leaving. And Ventress has a short little monologue of, "This is who I am. I'm Asajj Ventress, Count Dooku's assassin. I've probably killed people you know, blah, blah, blah." And so that was a cool episode. So it was a strong episode. Like, it was cool at the beginning. I was super hyped. So it was a strong start. And then it kind of goes downhill after that. But yeah, did you think this was the strongest of the 3 episodes, or did you like?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that first scene, it's made me so happy that
It would have been cooler if like there was a constant Inquisitor threat all 3 episodes.
True.
Like, it would have been cool if it was like another character, like Inquisitor that we knew already,
and that like the Inquisitor doesn't die or anything, but
right? Because it would be cool if like it was
one of the brothers or something,
like the 5th brother that we've seen, and or the 5th sister, the girl that was like the mentor to Barriss when she was a Inquisitor briefly.
Was there Inquisitors in Bad Batch?
No.
So then this has to be after the Bad Batch, right?
Why?
Because there's no Inquisitors yet.
No, there was Inquisitors day 1 of the Empire.
Oh, that's what I was implying by that question.
Well, there's but there's stormtroopers. There's stormtroopers in this episode. So this is at least probably 2 years after the fall of the Empire.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
I'm trying to figure out the timeline of this thing.
It's before Bad Batch.
So you think this is before still?
Yeah, and so I'm saying there was definitely tons of Inquisitors at this point. They could have had.
Because the Grand Inquisitor was like literally the day after, right?
Right, but then the 5th sister is there, or whatever her name is. Second,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember it all. There's so many numbers. But the chick that trained Barriss and was in Obi-Wan Kenobi series, like, she was there at the fall of the Empire. She was already recruited preemptively, and so, yeah. But it'd been cool if we saw one of those that we've already seen, or even like Iskat Akaris. That'd been cool to see her.
Yeah,
but nope.
It would have been cool if she saw Obi-Wan, even if it wasn't like if she was able to see Obi-Wan. That would have been cool.
What do you mean, see him?
Like, I guess Obi-Wan was already. Never mind. That doesn't make any sense. My timeline's wrong. Yep. I lied.
But yeah, that's the first episode. Second episode was called Friends. Aww. So this episode was just basically them trying to get intel on the path. And so they had to do a little. It was like a Bad Batch episode, kind of like
Yeah.
do this job to get the information to know where you got to go, type of thing. And so, um, they're on this planet. It looked like Dayu. I think that's
Mhm.
the name of the planet from the Obi-Wan series where
Yep.
they go find that fake Jedi. I was like, oh, okay, so they're gonna go find this path
That
thing.
Japanese looking planet.
I have never been to Japan, so I have no clue.
I
And
have,
that's
and
when you say you were there last week, and that's why you
I
made
was
that
there
comment.
like
Weird flex, but okay,
I
Drew.
wasn't trying to actually do
Um,
that.
but I don't think it was Dayu.
No, I
So,
don't think so either.
but they get off the ship and they're just having their own banter again, and whatever type of thing. And so she's like, I got an old friend that I got to find here that can help us maybe get some information. She makes fun of the kid, says he acts like a Jedi. How do I act like a Jedi? Well, first off, you smell like a Jedi. And he's like, what does a Jedi smell like? It's just her being like a mean older sister, I feel like. Not a
Yeah.
friend, but they're going along and there's like a fight between these bounty hunters and a bounty. So we have this like an assassin droid, like a bounty hunter droid type of thing, versus a guy with 4 arms that was like red skin, and then the other girl that we've seen before, I think in Clone Wars, starts with an L. Where do I have it? Lats. Lats Razi is her name. So I think we've seen her in Clone Wars, and so they're fighting this. The two are fighting the one bounty, and then he gets shot in the head or whatever, and Ventress like, hey, and she's like, hey, what's up? Blah blah blah. I don't know. It was just kind of weird, and so the kid is sad. He's like, it's always sad at the loss of life. Like he's super Jedi in the moment when she just said, stop acting like a Jedi. Well, he was acting like a Jedi right there.
Yeah.
That being said, whenever there's loss of life, and everyone's just like, okay, kid, get over it, type of thing. Um, so the bounty hunters, they know about the path. They've heard of it, and basically, it's like we have a job that we want you to do, and if you do this job, we'll give you the intel. It's kind of like a trade type thing. So Ventress is negotiating that, and then like they leave the dead body outside the ship and tell the kid to bring it up on board by himself, which is funny because at that point, Lots did not know that the kid was a Jedi. It's not till like a little bit later, so it's like,
Yeah.
how did he get it in without her seeing him? Probably force lift it up. I don't know. Whatever. We'll never know. But then we learn that the kid's name is Lyco. And the job is to steal an Imperial shield relay unit, which is, I'm guessing it's like the computer system to like those big giant balls on the Star Destroyers that we see that
Yeah.
are like the part of the shield generator thing, whatever, for Star Destroyers. So there's that. And so they have to go to Casario. That's where they're building these things. And Lyco, because he's familiar with Venator class ships, I think it was, and this was part of kind of the transition, I guess. He gave all this information about it, and Lots takes him around to the side and is like, only Jedi and clones know that information because they worked on those ships. So you're not a clone, you're a Jedi. And like, oh crap. And so she's like, you don't gotta worry about me. I work for a price. Blah blah blah. I'm not gonna turn you in unless like I can ensure payment, but this is too shady right now. We got other stuff to do. And so, but she does say, don't trust Ventress. She's only in it for herself. And so I was like, oh, is Ventress going to betray the kid? We don't know. She has a bad rap, bad record. We'll see. Um, So they arrive on Casario, and it's this big shield generator ball things that they have to hack in. So they sneak in, and I think Ventress tells the kid, "We might have to kill the bounty hunters if we need to. Get it done if you have to." And the kid's like, I don't know about that. I'm Jedi, don't do that type of thing. So they're sneaking in through this facility. And that whole droid crawling, that was creepy.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it looked like uh, Grievous when he does his crawling thing, kind
Yep.
of. I was
That
like, who?
that spider
Because
move.
at first you didn't even know it was the droid doing that until like it came up close into it. You saw him up close, and then like he like stood up. I was like, what is that? And so
Yeah.
does that. He sabotages one of the transports that's moving one of the balls or whatever to block traffic because there's a bunch of them moving. And then that's when Ventress and Lyco sneak in. And obviously, since one of the transports is disabled, troopers and people go to investigate and see what the problem is. And they spot the droid, and that was kind of scary. He like leans and looks underneath, and the face is right there hanging from it. And so when that happens, crap hits the fan. All these troopers come in. They start shooting. Ventress is spotted. They're shooting at Ventress because the kid goes into the ball. He's like, I know where it is. I'll go get it. So he's climbing around in there. He gets it, and Ventress cuts the tethers holding this ball down. And so then it's this giant ball that starts rolling away. And then it's that droid bounty hunter versus troopers as run and lats flying by, and he's just like shooting both sides, spinning around, blah blah blah. But then more lats come in and they're attacking. Lyco drops the device, he loses it, and basically the new plan is kill Ventress, take the kid because we can get money from turning him in. So she had a change of heart, which is kind of weird. Whatever,
Yeah.
because she's like, I don't need to turn you in. I do other things. But so the Ventress and the kid, they get to the ship. The kid gets on first, and then they shoot at Ventress, and she gets pushed back, and she falls back, and so she gets left behind. And so then she's just her by herself. She's running on top of the ball. She's inside the ball, climbing through it, climbs back out, and then is able to jump onto the ship and get in. And then this is basically her breaking in, disabling the droid. Then Lyco, he goes into, I believe, with like his saber against the head of the droid, and is like, there's basically give us the intel, whatever. So she gives into the Lots gives the intel, and so Lyco trusts Ventress. She's like, I trust you because she has the information, and then he gives it to Ventress. It's like, I trust you, and they have the intel, and that's the episode because they're friends now because they trust each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is like a Bad Batch episode. They got the mission done. Next episode, they got the intel, and they're gonna find the path, and it's gonna be a happy ending type of thing. But now that they're established as friends, what do friends do sometimes, Drew?
They definitely go get coffee or tea
Yeah.
somewhere
So
and hang out.
if you have made a new friend recently, you could do the same thing, just like Ventress and Lyco probably did after this. They went and got a hot beverage and shared and talked things over. So if you have a friend and you want to invite them over for some great coffee or tea, take a listen to our sponsor for today, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And if you're in the area, you can actually go to the coffee shop and have a coffee there or tea there. So you can go there as well. But if you're not in the area, or if you are in the area, you can still use the promo code from our commercial. So let's take a listen.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it. All right. Well, the last episode called One Warrior to Another. And I don't know. I thought this episode was kind of lame. What do you think?
Your thing? It didn't bother me like you, but
it was just so like
underwhelming.
I don't know. It was just very convenient. I don't know. Like they just randomly find this high-ranking separatist general that had all these medals, and like he's just.
You don't think she knew where he was or anything?
Well, she wouldn't know because she's been. Yeah, keep in mind, Dooku like kicked her to the curb like season 2 or something like that. Yeah, but it's like how it's like I don't know. It was just I didn't get it. I didn't get it. It was just a weird episode, and it's like turned into another Bad Batch episode, kind of, where they had to go on a mission, kind of, but there's big misunderstanding, and they'd make peace. I don't know. Like, it could have been something.
I'm excited for next week.
Why? Because nothing makes sense there too.
It's even worse.
I
kind of was hoping we were going to start with that because I thought you would have loved this.
Nope. But I don't know. It was just a weird story. Like,
I feel like both of these kind of were like we're not talking about the other one yet, but it really felt like they're kind of thrown together.
Yeah, the Ventress stuff makes more. Like, the story makes more sense. It's a more coherent from start to end compared to Bad Bat or Cad
Bane's.
But I don't know. This one was just, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it didn't give you the outcome that we
because it was like
needed.
We got to do all this stuff.
I think the only thing it does is show you that she's a good guy. Like that's it.
Right.
But then, if this is before Bad Batch, then where the heck does this kid go?
Yeah.
What happens to him?
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking that it was after Bad Batch. She did the Bad Batch, and then she.
And what should be mentioned is none of these 2 arcs are about the Underworld. I
think it's because she's from the Underworld.
No, it's meant to be like the Underworld, like secret underground, like bounty hunter, like behind the scenes, like she's sneaking around, but like when I think of the Underworld, I think of like crime syndicates and bounty hunting and
like real bounty hunting.
But like she's not. She's just on the run. Like that's not Underworld.
That's Star Wars. Like
right.
what?
I don't know.
Andor is more Underworld than this.
Right. But I don't know. But I don't know. Might as well jump in.
I guess the concept of the path is a little Underworld. Because
it should have been Tales of the Path. Like, just do that.
Dude, that would have been They should do. They will do that, dude. Just
have an arc of Quinlan starting the path, and then like it would be cool if then like the second arc is like the Empire finding the path, and it's like a group of Jedi fighting the Empire that shows up with Inquisitors, and you know the Inquisitors win, and it's everyone gets killed and stuff. But like,
yeah,
there's so many like.
We didn't need a happy ending.
They just need to hire me. Like I can brainstorm great ideas.
Bro, there's so many like things that we've said on this show that we're like, why don't they just do this? It's like not that hard, but
okay, I'm gonna say I think Tales of the Underworld is the most disappointing animated thing we've gotten.
100%.
And it's just like
it was so underwhelming.
I don't know. I was just like, why did they choose these stories that don't add anything really?
Yeah, and like
don't they have like focus groups where like they like, hey, here's this story. What do you think before we actually put this into production? Like I thought they had that stuff in movies and stuff. Like I feel like what people
I think literally the main part of this for Ventress was to show that they didn't mess up the book because they added her in Bad Batch randomly. And to show that she's a good guy, and like that's the story of Ventress. The Cad Bane stuff doesn't make any sense, and why did we get that? Like it's just dumb. The whole concept of it is just stupid. We'll talk about it more last week, but it's just so dumb. It doesn't add to his character at all, except we saw him as a kid, and that's about it. Like there is nothing about that arc that makes you care at all. Like it's just dumb. Like,
tune in next week for Drew's.
Yeah, just wait. Just wait.
But let's just jump into this episode. Let's get this done.
And Cad Bane's one of my favorite characters. It was so hard. My heart was like, I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's what we got? You could have done so much.
Yep. But this episode starts off, their Ventress and Lyco are just riding some dinosaur camel beast thing. Weird face thing, and they're out of the water. Ventress is out of water. Lyco sitting behind her like, hey, just drink some of mine. Like tells her to drink like 3 times, and she finally grabs. She's like, fine. She grabs it, and there's like one drop of it, and it pisses her off. It's so funny. And they're just going along. They find some homestead with a bunch of like unworking, broken B1 battle droids all propped up like scarecrows. So like hopefully like, people that use space binoculars from a distance, they look in, they see a bunch of B1 battle droids. Like, oh, we're going to stay away type of thing.
But it wasn't working on the birds.
Nope. And so they go up to the homestead and knock on the door, and then some little girl opens up the slot and starts shooting at them. Both of them, they block it. And I don't know, they break their way in. And
they shove it in the door. Like, that was the coolest part of this whole episode.
And we saw that in the trailer, so it's like, oops, okay. And they get inside, and it's just an old man in a wheelchair. And I don't know. They're like, get these guys some water. And the girl was like, but we barely have any for ourselves. Like, just get them some water. They're no strangers. And it's just kind of tense. And, I think it was Lyco sees all these separatist medals on the wall. And the guy's like, I know who you are. Lady Ventress. And I was like, okay. Cool. Like, I just didn't care. Like, he's... Okay, they're just making it so easy. Like, it's just, nothing happens. It just happens. I don't know. It's just weird for me. And so, basically, we need to go to Kipler Canyon, because I think that's implying that that's where the path is. That's their intel brought them there. So, like, I'm assuming that intel is brought them to this planet to find Kipler Canyon.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any story told between then and there. So it's like, I don't know. So, but then it's like, I don't understand what happened because the girl or whatever, or maybe it was the guy, the dad, the grandpa was like, it's a very hard place to find. But then by the end of the episode, it's the other like creature guy aliens that bring them. And so like, I'm confused on, maybe I just missed it watching it, but like, why is like the water mission? Like,
I think
did he know where it was, the Kipwood Canyon?
the guy
Yeah. Because what was the point of them getting the water?
to just help that guy out in his, because they couldn't. I don't remember. It
I
was
just
either
watched this yesterday, and I don't even.
damn, like worse. Watch this.
And I'm like taking notes, and I just didn't even.
I think it's either what happened was he knew the intel. No, because he wouldn't have held it over their head. I think they just felt bad, so they went to, they needed water to make this journey, and then the girl and the old man needed water too. So then they went to go help get water, but then those guys were like bullying them, so they couldn't get the water that they were trying to get. Because they don't understand, like...
But I don't understand the connection between the intel of Kipler Canyon
I don't think there was
and the water mission.
That I remember.
Oh. Okay.
I think the water mission was just to help. I could be wrong, though. I don't remember. It's been 3 weeks. Not yesterday.
But, yeah, so whatever. They agree to help the girl get water because she can't go by herself because there's raiders there.
Yeah.
So they go to this reservoir in the middle of the mountain canyons or whatever.
Watering hole.
And they just go to fill up these containers. And first of all, water is really heavy. And this girl is lifting these giant, like, 20-gallon things. And it's like...
Maybe gravity's different there.
Yeah, but they're walking the same. So it's... I don't know.
Try to help.
Like, what? A gallon of water is like 8 pounds. And there's like 20-gallon containers. So you're at 160
She's built
pounds.
different, Jeremiah.
I don't know. I didn't get it. Whatever. And so...
She's a little tank.
As they're doing it, like... Is that your dog?
She's okay. She's sleeping. I think she's having a bad dream. That's hilarious.
I'm writing down a timestamp.
I've never heard her howl like that.
That was a howl. I was like, I'm gonna turn that up in post so people can hear. Because if I can hear, then that means I can turn it up in post.
Yeah, you should turn it up. Because I've literally never heard her do that. She had a bad dream.
I was like,
she like barely barks.
That's weird. Anyway,
hey girl, she's like pissed off. That was funny.
But yes, the speeder fails, like it collapses, like it falls to the ground, and Lyko is commissioned to fix it, to get him out of there, because why? These Mad Max Raiders show up, like on like they sound like motorcycles, like they super loud, like up on the ridge of the thing, like looking down, and they're like completely surrounded, and it's like time to go, and like one shot is shot, and it's about to hit the girl, and Ventress blocks it with her saber right away. So whatever. So then it's this chasing, and they're just chasing, just running away, and there's tons of these raiders. They're just attacking, and they're not really that great at it. And like at one point, Lyko is like fighting one guy and shows him mercy and lets him jump off and go on another motorcycle. But then the girl crashes the car because it's like a tight turn and crashes, and they immediately get surrounded by these raiders. And I don't know, like the kid Lyko is just like, I understand this language randomly. Like of all the languages he learned at the Jedi Temple when he was a Jedi Padawan, he learned this random lizard language. Okay. And he goes, somehow talks to the leader, and to help broker a deal, I guess. So then after this, the grandpa, the old guy, is sitting outside at the homestead with his space binoculars looking out and sees this big cloud of dust with motorcycles and raiders coming right at him. He's like, oh no. And then you see the speeder with the Ventress, Lyco, and the girl coming in with them. And so then it's just kind of like this weird like PTSD moment for this old guy. Like he's like, we're in a war, we gotta fight these raiders. And it says Ventress like, hey, calm down. You're not at war. This is their water. You're taking it from them. Let's see if we can make a deal, but you got to be willing to talk. And he's like, it's hard to let go. Like, okay, I guess. And they agree to like work with each other for water. I'm like, okay. And so then how the episode kind of, the last kind of like part of the episode is they're going through the planet, like the side of the planet, and like in these canyons or whatever, and one of those raider guys is leading them, and there's bantering again between the two, and then they stop, and there's like a little pathway through the wall of the canyon. They go in there, walk all the way through, and then there's a ship loading up with people, and Lyco's about to go down. He's going down, and he realizes Ventress is not coming with. He's like, what are you, not coming? I'm like, nope, I have a different path to follow. And then he's like, okay, and he goes down. Like, okay, cool. Mission accomplished. I'm kind of happy. I was waiting for Quinlan to like be down there by the ship or whatever. And then like she's, like I said earlier, she gets back on the animal and starts leaving. And the camera is going up the canyon wall. Like, oh, we're going to see Quinlan like standing on top of the canyon looking down. But nope, they show the ship flying away. And then like another angle where the camera's like sliding up the side of the wall type of thing. And I was like, oh, we're going to see Quinlan at the top when it gets to the top of the canyon looking at her. Nope. It's just showing a sunset or whatever. And so she's just walking and she's just going along. And then Lyco is like, hey, wait up, come back. I'm coming with. And she's like, you missed the flight? It was right there. Like, no, I chose I wanted to be with you. You're my friend. And she was okay with it. Like, it was so stupid.
It's like she wasted all this time in her life to bring this kid to save him, and then, nah.
Yeah, so it was just a worthless thing because it's the same as how the first episode was, where they're just together. Like, nothing was accomplished.
Yeah.
And, like, who are these other people getting on this ship? Or was it other Jedi?
I assume.
I don't know. Like, it's just kind of crazy that, like, if there were other Jedi there, like, Ventress and the kid should have been able to, like, sense them. They wouldn't need... Yeah. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, I'm so disappointed by this arc.
Tune in for next week.
Tune in for next week, kids. It'll probably be a lot worse discussion, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
I would be happy if they came out with like a Ventress book. It's like, give me a Ventress book that like puts this all together, like that makes it more sense. I don't know, but we're probably not going to get that.
Yeah, because like the whole point of this is we thought this would like fill in more gaps than just the fact that she died. But literally, that was the only gap that they should hold. Like, they gave us that, and then they just kind of, like, left us, like...
Right, and it's like, they bring back this character in Bad Batch. Everyone loves Ventress. She's an awesome character. Cool arc in Clone Wars. And it's like...
They're just messing with her.
It's like, it doesn't add anything to the overall story of anything. She's just
Bad
there.
Batch 2, it didn't really do anything, except...
Because, like, when the trailer came out for Bad Batch season 3. The creators of the show, like and the animation studio and all that stuff, they're like, we know what happened in Dark Disciple. It's gonna be explained. Like, there's more work coming out that Ventress is gonna be part of. That's gonna explain all this. And we got excited. Like, we're gonna get this cool book, or we're gonna get a animated series with her, and it's gonna be this cool. Like, she does something, and like, if this is all we got was just we just want to bring her back to life for no reason,
for intel, for views,
like bring her back to life
clicks.
so that this one kid doesn't get to the path. Like,
yeah,
I don't
true.
know. Maybe they'll do a book or something like after Bad Batch where she's doing something, but
yeah, but like, why bring her back for a book? Like, why do all this effort?
And it's like
they got to do something more. Like, I have a feeling the mall stuff, she's going to be in that.
she could be.
Like, that would make sense. So, like, they're bringing her, they're telling us the story of how she didn't die. And, like, if they throw her in the mall, it's not going to be, like, a side. Like, it's not going to just, like, we're going to not focus on it as that. Like, we know that she's alive. We knew they didn't mess up that book. And now she's good.
So that better be. If they don't bring her back for the mall show, then they've been completely worth. But if they bring her back for that and put her, and she has like a significant thing, like honestly, the mall show is going to be literally an Underworld story.
Yeah.
And it's like they should have just had Tales of the Underworld be like the precursor of like here's like a little like prequel to the mall show that's going to come in, like tie it to that with like Cad Bane and Ventress or something. But
because they both could be in there too.
Yeah, so if they bring her back for the mall show, I'll be happy. Maybe looking back, this arc will be better when it's shown in context of the mall show. But
they don't.
Then it was completely worthless.
Like, I'm so pumped for this mall show. Don't get me wrong. But I also really wanted a Rex show right after Bad Batch.
Right.
To show him doing that. And, like, if they would have done that, I mean, they still could. To have Ventress working with Rex and, like, help that kind of stuff, that would make sense, too. Like, there's potential for that in the future. They go back to it, but I don't know.
Yep. But we'll never know.
Yeah. Well, until we do.
Until
they do it or not.
Yep. But the mall show is next year sometime. So we're probably at least a year away from getting that.
We're not like getting anything anytime soon.
Right? We got the Lego thing in September, Visions Volume 3 in October.
True.
And then Ahsoka probably no earlier than the end of next summer because it's filming right now.
Yeah.
So like it's at least a year away, but it's probably a year and a half away. It's like towards the end of 2026.
Probably like next Christmas.
So maybe it could come out in the spring. Maybe
next year.
Hopefully.
That'd be cool.
But we don't know.
And the celebration's a year after that.
2027. So
isn't when the movie comes out next May.
So that's right. Mandalorian Grogu comes out
literally
in May.
A year from yesterday, right? The 27th is when it comes out or something like that. I think it's Memorial Weekend.
Maybe. So set your calendars for a Empire Radio movie review, which
we haven't done one of those.
Last movie review of the canon movies was episode 9, not back on the Mandalorian podcast.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Back in the day. But that's that. So this is the Ventress arc. We're done. We're moving on because there's nothing much to talk about because not a lot happened. So let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time. It's voicemail time. All right, cool. Well, so we are recording this late night, way past midnight right now. And because of that, I am not playing all the voicemails that were sent in the last 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks, we got a lot sent in. So I am playing relevant voicemails because the 5 that we got from Shadrick, I am waiting till next week to do because they're not really related to, they're not necessarily as important as some of the ones for tonight because a lot of these are about like things that we've just talked about on the show or like Andor stuff. So it's more closely related to recently
Not that
published.
they're not important
Right.
voicemails.
And so Shadrick, if you're listening, tune into next week.
They're going to get
we have more time. But we have 7 tonight anyway.
Oh,
so,
Lord. So we would have had how many?
We would have had 12. So it's late. We're not playing that many. So we're playing these ones tonight. So first up from our good friend Yaretsi. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Yaretsi, and you guys wanted me to explain how my little sister got me into Star Wars. So here it is. So we were moving from North Carolina to Texas last year, and one of my teachers wanted to give my little sister a parting gift. So he gave her a Boba Fett teddy bear from like Build-A-Bear. It's like designed with like Boba Fett's armor.
Mm-hmm.
And my little sister asked me, because I'm the nerd in the family, like, who's Boba Fett? And the only answer I had was a bounty hunter, and I don't really know who it was. So we watched all the Star Wars movies, and then it just like went down from there. I just got into it.
Yeah, and, I think you binge watched Clone Wars in 2 weeks.
Can we not talk about how I binge watched Clone Wars?
And you binge watched The Bad Batch in like 2 days.
I didn't. It wasn't 2 days. It was like a week. And the Clone Wars, it's 2 weeks, like you said, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
That's impressive.
All right. Thank you, Yaretsi. And I'm assuming that was her brother, Daniel, I think his name is. So that's kind of cool that a Boba Fett Build-A-Bear is what caused you to become a big Star Wars fan and binge it all. And now the rest is history. You are now a fan of Empire Radio and you're part of our community, all because of that one little bear.
Build-A-Bear. They build things like a community.
So that's pretty cool. That's a very fun story. All right. Next up from a newer sender-ender. Is that a word? Sender-ender.
It's tonight at 12:38.
Nasty Nate has a voicemail, and he has some interesting words on 2 different topics. So let's take a listen.
Ooh.
What up, Empire Radio? It's Nasty Nate again. So Andor, so great. I went directly into Rogue One afterwards. It just makes that movie even better than it already was. And it was already a great movie. But, actual reason why I'm calling is because I'm standing here in my kitchen cutting up a cantaloupe.
Oh, God.
And cantaloupe is so much more superior than a watermelon.
What is wrong with these people?
But I'm thinking, how come nothing is ever flavored cantaloupe? You know, like, there's watermelon flavored everything. Bubblegum, hard candies. There's even watermelon flavored adult beverages, if you like that kind of thing. But nothing's ever cantaloupe flavored. And I don't know why. It's such a good flavor. I think I'm onto something here. We should start playing around with some recipes. Maybe we can make some money off of this. I don't know. What do you think? May the force be with you.
All right. Thank you, Nasty
I think we
Nate.
know why, because it's horrible.
I did look it up after I listened to his voicemail. I think, like, I tried to look if there's, like, cantaloupe desserts. And the only thing I found was, like a cantaloupe, like, ice cream, like, type, like, kind of like a sherbet type thing. So, like,
dude, sherbet goes hard. Can we talk about that?
That's the cantaloupe of ice cream. I don't know what you're talking about. It's
Okay,
fruity, refreshing.
Chill, dude. Oh, how did that backfire so fast? Oh, dude, I love sherbet. I haven't had that in a while. I should get some. Just thought about that.
I can't buy ice cream because I eat the whole thing in like 2 days. So I had a little bit of ice cream this past weekend for Memorial Day, gathering with some friends from college that I got together with. There was some ice cream that was with the dessert I made. So that was the first ice cream I had in a long time, since like last summer, I feel like. So
did you miss it?
Of course, I love ice cream. It's one of my weaknesses, and I can't buy it anymore. I walk by the ice cream aisle when I go grocery shopping every week, and it's just like I look at the prices, and I'm like, look, that's on sale. I would buy that, but no, I gotta keep my calorie intake down. So that's that. But Nasty Nate did suggest messing around with some recipes. So I don't know. You go first. You see if you can find a good recipe, and then send it our way. And maybe if it's good, I can do Coruscant Cafe. I bring that back. I haven't made one of those in like 3 years. So,
dude,
a cantaloupe dessert would be cool to make.
Cantaloupe muffin.
I just don't know, like
how would you do that though?
I don't
just
know.
Like the frosting would be like a cupcake.
I think what you would want to do is kind of like
I think it's hard to work with. It must be.
I think what you would need, like if there's like a recipe where it's like an applesauce, like loaf or applesauce, like apple cinnamon type thing, like where you would put like applesauce into the batter, like you could probably put cantaloupe in a blender and then mix.
Why don't they have cantaloupe jam?
I don't know.
Does it not jam well?
I don't know.
I don't think they have strawberry jam either, or watermelon jam either. Now that I come think about it, it's probably too watery. Doesn't jam.
Yep. But who knows?
Oh.
But
cantaloupe on pizza.
Cantaloupe, I don't know. Never tried it. But that's all we have for Nasty Nate. Thank you for that. Next up, we have 5 voicemails from Garrett. And only one has to do with the coup d'etat verse, which is the first one.
Surprising.
So let's take a listen to the continuing of the story. So last time I had to look this up because I couldn't remember what happened.
Garrett throws us all off.
Garrett was fighting Empress Palpatine and disarms her, and then he's about to kill her, and then another lightsaber ignites and stops him, and we were like, who is this person? I said it was Anakin Skywalker, never died, and he came back. I think you said it was Luke Skywalker. I think you said, but that's what's happened. So let's take a listen to number 1 from Garrett.
Hey, Empire Radio, it's Garrett. Drew was right. It was Luke. He stopped me from delivering the final blow to the Empress. He told me this isn't the Jedi way and I should stand down. I tell him I am no Jedi, and she is too powerful to be left alive. I pull my lightsaber back and go in for another strike on the Empress, but Luke stops me again, looking deep into my eyes and pleading for me to stop. At this moment, the Empress force pushes us away and grabs both her lightsabers. She then says, "You should have listened to the boy," and charges towards Luke. I rush to get up and defend with him, but also telling him, "You see what I mean?" We both lock blades with the Empress, and Luke replies, "Okay, yeah, I see what you mean." The Empress is now completely filled with rage and anger and is attacking faster than I've ever seen. She's completely countering our combined attacks. Suddenly, we hear the alarm blaring. The Gungans have arrived. Kind of a shorter story today because we need to talk Andor, so on to the next voicemail.
All right, so
Luke
arrived, stopped Garrett from killing the Empress, and then realized, we should probably kill the Empress. And then the Gungans have arrived, and so I wonder how that's going to happen. Like, is Jar Jar going to show up, and then he's going to like fumble something, and then the Empress is going to escape because he got in the way or something? That's probably going to happen.
Or is Jar Jar going to betray the Gungans and be Dark Jar Jar the whole time?
I don't know. We won't know. But I'm sure he'll send in one next week. But we got 4 voicemails about Garrett's thoughts on Andor, and I don't know if we can be friends with Garrett anymore based on his opinion.
Ooh.
So let's take a listen to his
I'm excited
first
for this.
critique of Andor season 2. So let's take a listen. Remember, and spoilers if you haven't watched Andor season 2 yet or finished. So let's
Turn it off.
take a listen.
Something that really takes me out of a TV show is unrealistic cinematic decisions and plot armor. Like when the ISB was attacking Andor and the others in the apartment, the ISB throws a stunner into the apartment. All 3 characters see the grenade and stare at it for 4 seconds before it goes off. Do you know how many different ways you can say take cover in 4 seconds? 8. Not even including the first word being grenade. Here, I'll demonstrate. Grenade! Move! Scram! Duck! Get away! Take cover! Dive! Disperse! Evacuate! That was about 3 seconds. Assuming at most it would take your brain about half a second to identify the threat, which is an extremely generous amount of time, that leaves you another half a second to alert everyone, and 3 full seconds to move away from the grenade. I've done extensive physical research, and the average human can cover about 30 feet from a standing start in 3 seconds. Combine that with a dive and covering your ears, you can almost fully negate the effectiveness of that stunner. But nope, Andor, Clea, and Melshi just stand there and do nothing to defend themselves against it. Also, with them all being similar distances from the grenade, they all get affected differently. Melshi is completely fine, maybe he actually took cover behind a wall or something, but Andor is stunned for a bit and Clea is on life support. In my opinion, it's just lazy writing.
Wow, that's aggressive.
That is, I don't think that people can think that fast when
You're in the
something like that happens.
moment.
Like
You're
that is,
also
I completely
trying-
disagree.
Also, you're trying not to get shot and
Right.
or shooting someone too at the same time. Like there's so much going on. A war scenario, people see grenades all the time and don't call them out properly or die, or people throw grenades and accidentally drop them. And I mean, there's so many movies about that. Like it's not that
I think
out of the
it's
ordinary.
I don't think a lot of people's reaction time to like understand, like there's like reflexes, or like if it was thrown at you, like people like a reflex to like catch it or like bat it away or something. But like when it's like ricocheted and like you don't know what it is, you have to wait for it to stop moving, and then you have to look at it. And like, I don't know. I don't agree that the 4 seconds is a long time to like instantly know what it is, instantly tell someone what to do. Like,
And
I disagree with
you gotta
that.
also encounter the heat of the moment.
Right.
There's
lots going on.
one thing to count to 4. Like we're sitting here, we can count to 4. Yeah, that's a long time. But like when you're in the process of shooting, and who knows if they all saw it at the exact same time.
Right.
And also, I think the reason why they weren't all affected the same way is because the blast probably didn't disperse the same way, you know?
Right.
And you got to think of body weight too. Like she's so much lighter than them, which is also why she was probably thrown. Like
Right.
you got to consider that stuff too.
And like, I also think I'd have to go back and watch it, but I think it like dispersed in kind of like a
From the end of the grenade, not
it
necessarily.
was like a
from,
cylinder. Like it wasn't just like in every direction equally. It was kind of like a flat sphere, like a flat like plane that was like so like if it's at an angle, it's gonna hit people differently from different angles, and
it's gonna bounce off walls differently.
Right. And because it's not meant to be an explosion, so like I think it's very like
correct.
The closer you are, the greater the effect. And if you are like, but like once you get like, 10 feet away, like it's probably almost does nothing. And so it's like, yeah, they were all within a few feet when it went off, but like, I think there's way too many variables to say that they should have just.
Granted, you did your math, you did your work. I'm not saying, I mean, he came out with a strong, but I never thought of that scene was lazy writing at all.
Yeah. And you got to keep in mind, they were also like, the entrance is kind of like a little mini hallway too, where like it wasn't an open room where they could just jump. I think it was like there's another hallway wall type thing there that they're kind of like stuck next to. So it's like there's that. So 0 for 1, Garrett. So let's listen to your next one.
Another kind of big nitpick I have is Luthen not properly destroying the evidence and also not doing a good job at, to make this family friendly, we're going to call it force ghosting himself. That's not to diminish the awesome and truly heartfelt scenes with Clea breaking into the hospital and doing what had to be done, but, like, come on, you're telling me that's how he goes out? Not by blowing up his entire shop with him and Dedra in it, or even him escaping that BA ship of his? Sure, the place was surrounded, but he took on and escaped a Cantwell-class arrestor cruiser, which is specifically designed to ensnare and incapacitate any suspect starship, including other cruisers. Oh, and not to mention the 4 TIE fighters that he destroyed. And you're telling me he couldn't have escaped Coruscant in that beast of a ship? Yeah, that doesn't add up.
All right, I disagree with you again, because he didn't know that they were coming at that moment. He thought he had more time, and so he was destroying the radio. And then
he
that's
was
when
kind of
Dedra.
pouring that thing slow. Let's be real.
Yeah, but he only had a little bit in that thing. Like, he can't just do it fast and get all. He had to like slowly do it till like it drizzled across everything.
Yeah.
And so if he literally had another like 20 seconds, the radio would have been completely destroyed. And also, his whole
he had to
ship
make sure he didn't pour it on his shoe, because then he would have melted his foot.
Correct. But like also the whole ship thing, like, yeah, he could have like, that's what he would have gotten in after he destroyed any like paper trail. He would have been left and he would have been just fine. But like, he had to go and he answered the door because he didn't know it was the ISB. He didn't know it was Dedra when he went to the door. And so I don't blame that. And I just think that like Garrett used force ghosting himself as a family-friendly way of describing events. I think he had to make do with what he had in the moment, which was that dagger, which was a Nautilin dagger, I think it was. And so it's like, yeah, maybe he could have done it better to like end himself faster, but like, I don't know.
I'm surprised you're not nitpicking other things, like how that whole room was keeping him alive instead of one little thing keeping him. Like, there was different plot points, in my opinion. Like, the whole room was aggressive, but you gotta also think of like the technology that they had. They were able to bring back a person with no limbs, burnt to everything, and put him in a suit and keep him alive. So, like, I mean, he could have done something else, but in that moment, that's all he had. And yeah, like,
sure, it would have been cool if he just like blew up the whole gallery,
but it wasn't loaded with explosives,
right? Or like, but it's just like he could have like done that as a failsafe, but like, I think it would have been a worse story if he just instantly destroyed everything and blew everything up, and he died, and then.
Well, then also blew up Dedra. Like, I think the ending of her story is so much better that without her being blown up with him.
Right. So it's just, I don't know. I can understand why he could have went out in a cooler way, but just because something is cool doesn't mean that it's good writing. And I think the overall writing of the episode, the whole writing was a success.
I also think the way he went out it was for the other character to build her character, you know?
Right.
Because she had to do something that she didn't want to do and break into this hospital to end his life after he saved her life. You know? So, like, it was hard for her to do that. So we needed to see that, I think.
Yeah. So 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
So let's listen to number 3 on your critique of Andor.
There's also a lot of unanswered plots that could have replaced unnecessary scenes at the end. Honestly, I would have rather seen how Mon Mothma's daughter was doing rather than seeing her husband doing exactly what we expected of him. And my least favorite forgotten plot was Andor's sister. They just didn't give a definitive answer as to what happened to her, and even worse, they give us a tease about her in Andor's dream at the end. I thought for a second Cleo was Andor's sister, but obviously they would have realized that sooner. Another thing that kind of ruins the character development flow is the time jumps. The first two were fine, but the third one, from 3 to 4, was terrible. The last thing we see is K2SO get activated and Bix leave Andor. Two major points in his life, and we don't get to see him accept the fact that Bix is gone, and the start of his friendship with K2. Also, okay, Cassian has worked with K2SO for a whole year, and K2 saved him from the ISB and probably multiple other occasions, and Cassian still doesn't trust him with a blaster? Come on.
All right. Well, let's see. What was his the Lita? Not seeing Lita. I think it would be cool to see Lita, whatever she's doing, but she's also at this point 16 or 17-year-old girl in a child marriage still.
It's just depressing. Yeah.
Just her
to show that she
sitting at the dinner table with her husband
that she doesn't want to be with.
Just sitting there quiet, like
depressed. That would make me angry, dude. I don't want to see that.
Like honestly, like I think I wouldn't necessarily want to see her. I just would not have seen Perrin. Like if they left that out, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
but like
because you didn't like that part.
Like it was just kind of like, who cares? Like it's not like he has a continued story that we need to know.
Yeah,
and like it was just weird having Cloris. No, that's the driver. Skulden's wife. Like I'm more just that we didn't get the story of like what happened to Skulden that now those two are together. Like I'd rather have had more information on that. Like I don't know. It would have been better if the flash for Perrin was him on Canto Bight gambling. That would have made more sense. His wife left, and now he went back to his gambling problem that was hinted back last season, first season when
instead of his cheating problem that we didn't know about.
Right. So it's like that would have been better. And
also what bothered me about him too is that like we kind of started to like him a little bit. Like after his speech at his daughter's.
Yeah.
But then he turns back on his own speech by cheating on his wife with someone else's wife.
Right. But
so kind of
both are probably painted as they're both enemies of the Empire. I'm assuming Skulden got caught, and that's why he's no longer in the picture, that he got arrested by ISB as someone smuggling rebellion funds. And Mon Mothma obviously knows, so I think it might have been one of those things where it's like they could be both divorced, or if like Skulden is dead, then she's free to marry. Perrin probably got a divorce somehow.
Or just was like, whatever. Like,
but like even then,
you love like this. You love the rebellion more than me.
Yep. So I don't really mind it either way. It's just kind of like why we didn't need it. And then Garrett makes a comment about no closure on Cassian's sister. We all get that, but Tony Gilroy made comments about that. About like that's part of Cassian's story is that he never gets that resolved. Like it's better for Cassian's story to have to live with this constant like regret and worry and fear. I don't know. He says it better than me. So
because also he doesn't get the ending result of Bix either. Because going into this mission, he was still potentially going to go get Bix anyways. Like, leave. Right. So, I think to that point, there's things that he wasn't done with and he wasn't able to finish. Not by his own doing or choice. So, if they would have, like, fixed that hole for him, I kind of get that now. That makes sense. Like, if they would have been like, oh, he's your sister, then like what else is he fighting for? Like, I'm gonna leave this now. I got my sister's fine, and now I'm gonna go to my kid that he doesn't even know he has, which is wild to me. But
and like it's also he stopped searching for his sister to join the rebellion in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so if he didn't give up looking for his sister, we wouldn't have had the entire series / Rogue One and all that stuff. So I don't know. Tony Gilroy explained it a lot better than I can. So go look up Tony Gilroy's explanation of that. And then Garrett also mentions K2SO and not getting a lot of information on that relationship, and the comment in
Rogue
One about him not getting a blaster. I don't know. I would have to go watch that again just to like specifically like see what was said, but I don't
think they get blasters.
Droids?
Like those droids.
Well, by the Empire maybe not, but
so it would potentially bring him out of hiding in a sense, like they wouldn't know that he was fake.
Well, right.
Because part of his character, like
that could be that to keep the undercover.
Because
like when K2SO is on Jeddah, he's trying to pretend to be an actual Imperial droid.
Yeah,
but if he had a blaster on him, it could like that's not off. Protocol.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So we're not gonna give you 0 for 3. We'll give you like 0.25 on this one. so right now you're batting.
Jeremiah bringing up his
a quarter divided by 3, whatever that is. There's that. So let's take the next one. Final one from Garrett. Number 5.
The last point I'll make is that not enough people died, in my opinion. We have all these characters that we never see again, and barely any of them die. Mon Mothma basically makes the declaration of war against the entire Empire, and her whole family, who is living under Imperial rule, is still alive. I'm happy for the people that do survive, but I don't know. I think it's a bit of a wasted opportunity to even further show the evil of the Empire and give people more of a reason to want to fight them. Overall, I did like the show, though. I'd probably rate it around a 7 out of 10. I think the first season left us a lot of room to predict what could happen in Season 2, so maybe our imaginations ruined the second season, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't start crying like a baby when I saw Bix at the end. It gave a much better reason for why she left, which I actually predicted, but I'm also partially mad at her for not bringing Cassian with her. This story really did transform the way that we view those last moments of Rogue One.
All right. Come on, Garrett. Not enough main characters died? Are you kidding me? Like,
also, we just talked about that. Like, Mon Mothma's husband wasn't. He had no idea.
Right. Well, but Garrett's point is that Perrin and Lita would have been taken into custody and interrogated and
and they probably were. We didn't
seen as accomplices in one way or another. I get that, but also look, so many. Okay, Brasso died in the first arc. He was a main character, considered him a main character. Yeah. But by the end, we have Cyril. He's dead. He's one of the main characters in the whole show. We have Partagraz. He kills himself or Force Ghost himself. Lonnie gets killed. Those are all main characters. Then the Gorman massacre, thousands of people, a lot of those main characters that were on the Gorman front, those characters, most of those got killed. We see them killed. They weren't main characters in the show, but they were main characters in the middle 2 arcs, those 6 episodes. And then Luthen dies, and I don't know. I think a ton of main characters were killed. And
I don't know who else you'd need to kill.
Because who survived? It was Wilmon,
Mon Mothma.
Well, we'll say new characters that weren't already established as surviving. Sure. We'll do Wilmon, Bix, Dedra, but she's essentially killed. She's in there for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Even though I'm assuming if she's still alive by the end of episodes Return of the Jedi, I'm assuming those prisons where people were released. So maybe she could be alive. But
then she still worked for the Empire, so she's in jail somewhere.
Right. But I don't know. Who else is alive that was a main character? That bald Imperial guy, but he failed at Mon Mothma's speech thing, so he probably got.
You did.
Well, I guess because he's there at the end when Partigraz shoots himself, so maybe he's
True.
fine because he was supposed to escort Partigraz down. He wasn't in trouble, but I feel like he's somewhat responsible. He probably got interrogated and killed too. Oh, and then the guy, she says Val is still alive. But like, I feel like most of the main characters died, which
Or emotionally died.
right.
Like Cyril's mom.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know where you're getting at. So, Garrett, I'm sorry. We disagree with almost everything you said tonight.
Especially rating it that low. Are you
7 out of 10. The show.
crazy? The whole show.
That's a hot take. Season 2 was better than season 1.
And season 1 was mind blowing.
And the only like part of season 2 that like plot wise I didn't like was that stupid first arc when Cassian is held hostage by those stupid rebels on Yavin.
Yeah, that part was dumb.
Like that was kind of a lame thing, but it was still showing how rebels needed the Rebel Alliance to like or be organized better. It's like I get what they're doing, but it was kind of lame.
Maybe Garrett's listening to a different Star Wars influencer.
Yeah, Garrett, he never watched that show. He gave up after the 3rd episode, so
True. It was, oh my gosh, what an idiot.
But Garrett, so we're giving you 0.25 out of 4 on this whole thing.
Still better than if you're playing basketball. That's not bad. That's decent shots.
No, that's 0.25 out of 4. That's 1/16. That's
means he made 2.5.
That's 0. That's 1 out of 16 shots. In a sense, percent wise.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's bad.
It's 0.625%.
Homie, you're getting benched.
or whatever. So
you're not gonna see the third quarter for sure.
Yep. Sorry, Garrett. Okay. You're wrong. We're right. Moving on. But yes, thank you for everyone. That's all the voicemails we have tonight. Thank you, Yaretsi, Nicey Nate, and Garrett. It's always a pleasure. Next week we have the 5 from Shadrach that will play, so we'll see how many more we get in. So hopefully we don't get too many next week additional. But yeah, let's go over some social media and we can get out of here. So if you are new or old to Empire Radio, go in the description below, links.co/Empire Radio, links spelled with 2 I's. Click that landing page for everything. And if you want to send in a voicemail sometime, there's a link for that. But you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch for live streams, so you can fact check us and talk to us in the chat. Join the Discord if you want some other Star Wars fans to go talk to about anything and everything Star Wars. It's a lot of fun in there. We also have a fan email if you need to email us about anything. So I think that's everything. Anything else, Drew?
No. That's
all right. For me. Let's get out of here. So you've been listening to another Ventress-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.